Citerum, quem seu Carthaginem, esse delendam.
In 146 BC, one of the richest and most powerful metropolises of antiquity is razed to the ground. The destruction of Carthage marks the bloody climax of the bitter Third Punic War between the two superpowers of Rome and Carthage. After a 3-year siege that has claimed thousands of lives on both sides, the Romans stand on the threshold of final conquest, a moment of apocalyptic violence in which an estimated 90% of Carthage's population, up to 450,000 people, will be killed. It will be one of the most devastating massacres in all of antiquity. The desperate Carthaginians resist fanatically until the end, even improvising weapons production within their city walls. But the sheer might of the Roman military machine is overwhelming. In a daring surprise attack from the sea, the invaders succeed in breaching the massive 60-foot-high walls of Carthage's harbour and bringing thousands of assault troops into the city. Days of apocalyptic street fighting follow, turning Carthage into a veritable inferno. The defenders, men and even women and children, fight exhaustingly from house to house, street to street. Whole neighborhoods are incinerated. The air thick with smoke, screams, and the stench of burnt flesh. But step by step, the Romans advance, decimated by Carthaginian fire and casualties in the narrow, winding alleys. Weary and exhausted, they must fight through piles of rubble and charred corpses as the city burns around them. The reek of decay and desperation hangs like a poison gas cloud over the ruins for days. After days of fighting, the Roman invaders finally succeed in driving the last weakened defenders back into the fortified citadel of Byrsa on the hill ridge. The siege of this last bastion drags on for more days, as the Carthaginians muster every ounce of strength to fend off the Romans. Byrsa is considered virtually impregnable, but it cannot withstand the relentless Roman onslaught. Finally, Byrsa is stormed and falls after a last bloody massacre. The Carthaginian commander Hasdrubal is forced to surrender, whereupon his enraged wife, in an act of desperation, executes their 2 sons before his eyes. Legend has it, she curses him as a coward before flinging herself with the last 900 defenders into the blazing flames of a temple. This final, dramatic act of desperation marks the end of Carthage. About 50,000 survivors of the year-long siege, emaciated and traumatized, are led away into slavery. The once magnificent Punic metropolis of over 500,000 inhabitants is razed to its foundations, its millennia-old culture systematically obliterated. The destruction of Carthage transcends the bounds of a normal military defeat. It is a strike against the entire Punic civilization without mercy. Scipio Aemilianus, the commander of the victorious Romans, is said to have wept at the sight of the smoldering ruins and prophetically warned that one day Rome too could suffer a similar apocalyptic fate. The complete obliteration of Carthage leaves a bloody scar that runs through the cultural heritage of the Western Mediterranean to this day. The fall of the former superpower cements Roman hegemony in the region, but at an unimaginably high price of suffering, destruction, and loss on both sides. The conquest and annihilation of Carthage is one of the darkest, most devastating, and cruelest moments of all antiquity.